Hello folks, I'm John Myrie and welcome to the Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. On this week's show, we've got some great summer fishing tips for you from TJ down at Hayward Bait and Bottle, and then we talk summer fishing with Hayward Area Fishing Guide Tom Leahy. Lots to cover on this week's show, all coming up right after these messages.
Save on Tracker boats at Hayward Power Sports. America's #1 selling aluminum fishing boat is Tracker, and the top selling pontoon is Sun Tracker. During the Great American Boat Sale event, claim up to $3,000 in instant savings and a free Bass Pro Shop gift card up to $1,000 with the purchase of a select new model Tracker boat. Plus, get the Tracker Promise, the best factory warranty, and Tracker's no hassle, no haggle value pricing coast to coast. See us today at Hayward Power Sports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
The Hayward Lakes Visitors and Convention Bureau in Sawyer County, Wisconsin welcomes you to our Northwoods hometown. No matter the season, no matter the activity, you'll always be surrounded by our great outdoors. What more could you ask for in a vacation destination? Woods, waters, world-class events. Contact us for information on lodging, dining, attractions, events, trail conditions, and more. Order your free vacation guide and start planning your getaway today. Visit us at haywardlakes.com or call 1-800-724-2992.
Riding along in my automobile.
Bumping into things unexpectedly? Make your first choice for collision repair. Ernie's Auto Body, featuring the most advanced collision repair facility in Northwest Wisconsin. With a state-of-the-art spray bake down draft paint booth for that better-than-new finish, laser technology for precision frame alignment, loaner cars available, computerized estimates, written guarantees, and documented unmatched customer service, the clear choice is Ernie's Auto Body, south of Hayward on Highway 63 and Nursery Road, where quality is no accident.
Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering welcomes you to stop by for their great lunch menu. And while you're there, Lynn's also has a great selection of custom cut meats and sausages, as well as many varieties of snack sticks, jerky, fresh cheese curds, and much more. Lynn's is open Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 5:30 and 9 to 4 on Saturdays. Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering in Hayward.
Today, anglers fish longer. Today, anglers fish harder. Today, anglers rely more than ever on their electronics. It all comes down to catching more fish, and today, anglers rely on Amped Outdoors lithium batteries, period. Visit ampedoutdoors.com today to power your outdoor experience.
Well, TJ, we're coming in summer here, and basically in the heat of summer, we've had some really hot weather and stuff, and, a bunch of that smoke blowing through it from the fires and stuff, but the fishing changes in the summertime. What do you recommend people go after? Number one, it's going to be the easiest fishing out there.
Easiest fishing out there is going to be the bluegill and then the largemouth bass. They're all still going to be fairly shallow. You're going to be able to find plethora of them up on the weed edges and up on your docks and stuff like that. If you're just trying to go out there and catch numbers of fish, little red worms on a little hook, you'll go out there and you'll catch a bunch of small bluegill. Occasional largemouth bass will eat that too. If you're trying to catch some bigger fish, you're going to have to explore out a little deeper. You're going to have to fish the points, the ledges, the drop-offs out in like the 15, 20, sometimes you can push down to 30, 35 feet of water if you want some of the big largemouth, big smallmouth, big walleye. They like to stay out a little deeper where the water's still cold.
You see a big difference in the largemouth location for the bigger fish where you got a higher population of walleyes? A lot of times I see them move shallower.
Yeah, I do see that a lot. When there's more walleye, there's less prey food out deeper because the walleye are eating it all. So then there's more competition. And that competition is going to push the largemouth shallower. So you'll find them basically on the shore. You'll find them in 0 to 10 feet of water up in the thick weeds. And that's when you can break out that frog and you get some really cool bites.
And nothing more fun than topwater fishing for them, too. You get good tips on topwater. I mean, what do you like for a rod for topwater fishing for bass?
I like the St. Croix Victories. Those are a good choice. Any medium, heavy to heavy rods. You want a lot of backbone for those frogs because there's thick hooks. You got to really give them the business in order to put that hook in their fish. With frogging, especially, slow down. You got to slow way down. And then you still want a high gear ratio reel. That 8-3, stuff like that, the fast gear ratios, in order to pull them out of the thick weeds. Because largemouth bass and pike especially can survive in the thickest weeds you can find. So that Eurasian milfoil that we've been getting in a lot of the local lakes, they'll be super deep up in that. They'll be up deep in the lily pads. They'll be up deep in whatever they can find because I'll hide the bait fish, hide them. It makes it so they can move around a lot easier with a lot less competition.
There are ways of fishing that heavy weed cover, too. A lot of people shy away from it because, oh, man, it's snaggy and everything else. But there are ways of fishing it for panfish and for, the bass out there.
Yeah, there's lots of ways you can fish it. Punching rigs are a good option. The tungsten skirted punching weights are a good choice. With Crush City cleanup crew is a good option for punching rigs. You just take a little bobber stopper, put that above your tungsten skirted jig, and then put the cleanup crew on there and just punch through that thick weeds. The Crush City ones are loud. They make a lot of noise, so the fish can really feel them when they go through the water without you having to do much with the rod tip.
I know the punching rigs are relying on more weight to get down there, ounce and a half jigs, actually.
Yeah, ounce to even up to 2 ounces, depending on how thick it is. You can just really punch. You instead of casting, you more throw it straight up in the air and then let the weight just punch you straight through the top of those weeds. Because a lot of the times the weeds are super thick on the top and they open up a lot underneath. So then once you punch through, it's actually fairly open a lot of the time.
Well, especially milfoil. It's a canopy weed, kind of like a big umbrella. Another rig that I found works really good is a Tokyo rig with a plastic on it. That thing will penetrate a lot of stuff, get to the bottom real quick and all that vegetation.
Yes, Tokyo rigs are another really good option. They also work really good for smallmouth, a little secret. You drag those around the bottom. It's similar to a Carolina rig in a way, but a lot tighter, or a small drop shot.
Talk about smallmouth. You mentioned smallmouth, and, summer's a good time for them. Generally, they're deeper in most lakes except in flowages.
If there's running water, they'll be up shallow still. It's a more stationary lake. You're going to find them out in the smaller ones. You'll find about 15 feet of water. They're just cruising rocks. They're cruising the weed edges. The bigger ones, however, they're chasing schools. You're going to find them sometimes out even in like 30, 40, 50 feet of water, just suspended in about 20. They'll be up chasing schools of shad and stuff like that, depending on which lakes you're on. A lot of the times they'll be just cruising around chasing those big schools of bait.
And I know a lot of people fish the smallmouth. They just fish way too fast for them. You want to slow way down. It's almost boring sometimes how slow you got to go.
No, yeah, 100%. A good way to catch them this time of year is taking an Alabama rig, the umbrella rigs. Super good. You can just cast them out and just super, super slow roll them. And then you can watch them on your live scope. They'll come up and smash it. It's super fun fishing.
You can only have 3 plastic baits on there, though. I mean, you have to have the other 2 have to be spinners or something.
Correct. What I do is I have 2 hooks on the bottom, and I use a slightly larger plastic on the back with a hook. And then the top 2, you can use decoys is what we call them. You take the little screw locks. You take the screw lock, you clip it on the top 2, and then you can screw the plastic on. You just can't have hooks on the top 2. Or, 2 of them.
Yeah, spinner on there, it really clarifies it too. So anyway, a lot of other things. And if somebody wants to get out there after summer panfish, a lot of the people up here on vacation want to go after summer panfish. Any tips there? I mean, you said shallow for bluegills, but a lot of times there'll be fish moving deeper too.
Correct. For your crappie and bigger bluegill especially, they're going to be out in 15, 20 feet of water on the weed edges. This time of year, it's super hard to keep those live baits alive, so we're switching over to a lot of plastics. Those have been working really well. Still just throwing them under a slip bobber. Just slow it down a little bit. Find the big schools. They're schooled up right now on structures. So if you're fishing just like a weed stretch, find a spot where there's a little bit different weeds, or there's like a stump or something. They'll be grouped up on points, so to say. You gotta find the spot on the spot.
Anyway, down here at Hayward Bait and Bottle, you work down here. They got just about anything we're talking about and good information, and you're in here, you can give them some tips too, huh?
Yeah, 100%. If you guys come in here, we can hook you up with what's been working out here. We got basically everything you need. If we don't have it, you don't need it, is something I like to say. We got everything from big musky baits down to the smallest bluegill baits you can find. We'll come in here and we'll get you set up.
Well, thanks a lot, TJ.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Well, folks, we need to take a break right now and hear from some of the fine sponsors that make this show possible every week. When we come back, we'll be talking to Hayward Area Fishing Guide Tom Leahy, so stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hayward Bait and Bottle is your one-stop for the Hayward area's largest selection of rods, reels, lures, fishing electronics, boating supplies, and they've now expanded their selection of soft plastic bass and walleye baits. No matter what you're fishing for, at Hayward Bait and Bottle, you'll find everything you'll need for a successful season. And while you're there, in their bottle shop, you'll find a full selection of beer, wine, and liquor, too. And also don't forget, now they carry Shoremaster docks, lifts, and accessories at Hayward Bait and Bottle. There's no time like the present to explore Hayward, Wisconsin, one of the Midwest's most popular vacation destinations. With crystal clear lakes for water sports and fishing, miles of trails for riding snowmobiles, ATVs, cross-country skiing, hiking, and mountain biking, this area is buzzing with activity year-round. Combined with charming local shops and a variety of Northwoods dining options, Hayward is certain to offer both adventure and relaxation for everyone. Plan your trip today and find everything you need on the Hayward Area Chamber of Commerce website. From events and attractions to local dining, shopping, and lodging, visit haywardareachamber.com and start your next adventure now.
Have some UTV fun in the sun with savings up to $4,000 or financing as low as 0% at Hayward Power Sports. The Polaris All-Out Summer Sales Event is the perfect time to take yours home. Offers vary by model, but a prime example is the 2026 Polaris Ranger XP1000 Northstar with a $3,000 rebate or 1.99% financing for 36 months. This machine is the top of the line with a factory-installed cab system including a tip-out windshield and power front windows. Plus, control your comfort with factory-installed heat and AC. Yes, AC. Choose a machine to fit your needs and the offer that fits your pocketbook. Polaris RZR is a machine for adrenaline junkies to push the limits. Polaris Ranger is the ultimate workhorse for the toughest jobs. And Polaris General is the best of both worlds, built with task-to-trail versatility, ready to work or play. Plus, Hayward Power Sports has a machine that started it all, the legendary Polaris Sportsman ATV. Have fun in the sun with your new Polaris today at Hayward Power Sports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
See dealer for complete program details. Always wear a helmet, never drink and ride.
In the Northwoods, a lake property is more than just a cabin. It's where memories are made. If you're buying lakefront property, you want someone who understands what makes each lake special. And if you're selling, your property deserves more than just a sign in the yard. It deserves its story told. I'm Megz Steinmetz with Real Estate by Megz, a national 30 under 30 realtor, lifelong angler, and a Northwoods lake specialist. Because no two lakes are the same and neither are the properties. Find me online or on social media, Real Estate by Megz. That's Megz with a Z.
Welcome back to another segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors, and this part of the show is brought to you by the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau. For more information on lodging and vacationing here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out their website at haywardlakes.com. Well, folks, one of the guys I get on here quite often is Hayward Area Fishing Guide Tom Leahy. I had a chance to talk to Tom the other night on the telephone about the summer fishing and a lot more. Tom, we're right in the middle of summer. We got all these wildfires burning up north, which is kind of crimping a lot of people's outdoor activities, but there'll be some good fishing. Sooner or later, it'll clear out a little bit, and the summer fishing it's different. I mean, you got higher water temperatures and stuff like that, and a lot of food out there for them fish, but, there'll be some good fishing out there, won't there?
Yeah, John, comes to July, and we'll be looking into August sooner. Then before you know it, and that's the summer patterns are there. The water temps, we did have a really good warm spell. Water temps way up, so that might affect some different things too. But as far as what I've been seeing, as far as multi-species, you can find them deep, but yet still find a lot of fish shallow. Been doing a lot of the last couple days going for bass. Yeah, the bass bite's been really good, and weeds anywhere shallow as 4 foot. Depends how much, if you got some wind blowing, that's nice, but get a real flat morning and early you'll find some nice bass in those shallow weeds, doing some top water, plastic, stuff like that, or the deeper weed lines next to that deeper transition water right on the edge. The other day I was throwing Texas rigs with Berkeley power worms. Brown was a really good one, and purple. And then spinner baits have been working really good. You pick up some pike, pick up some bass, largemouth, and even smallmouth. And as far as the shallow walleye bite, been picking up some, even doing, hitting bass plastics on those weed edges. It's still able to find some shallow walleyes.
You know, people talk, you mentioned spinner baits, catching pike and stuff, but that's a real common lure. A lot of people grab that for the summertime fishing, but that one thing I see that they make a mistake is they throw it out there and they crank it in real fast. They don't stop, they don't pause it. And, a lot of times you can catch way more fish if you kind of let that bait kind of yo-yo up and down some and contact the weeds and, just do it a lot of different stuff other than just crank it straight in.
Yeah, and the other day, it seemed like, throwing some spinner baits. If you went too fast with it, that was fine. If you're throwing it in the 4-foot shallow weeds, just to keep it out of the weed or not get totally full of weeds, but clip the top of the weeds. And then as you got just on the edge of the weeds, just slow that down and let her get down, 4 or 5 foot, if you were sitting in 12 feet of water, and that seemed to be a good trick too.
I've seen multiple times over the years where you're fishing up in 3-4 feet of water and you got little clumps of weeds and stuff, and every time you get to where there's a little opening in the weeds, you kind of stall that spinnerbait and let it drop a little bit. All the difference in the world between catching fish and not catching fish.
Exactly, and when you get these warm spells too, a lot of times, even lake dependent, even the smallmouth bass, guess what? They could be hiding in the thickest weeds imaginable. It's nice and cool in there for them. They could be in 4 or 5 foot, depending on the lake, of course, but or in those gaps.
Yeah, there's ways of getting into those thick weeds, though, and actually I was talking to one of the young guys, I think it's TJ up to Hayward Bait, to actually have him on the first part of the show here, but there's a bunch of ways the bass guys have come up with to penetrate the top of them weeds, and a lot of the weeds, like milfoil especially, it's a canopy weed where it's like a big umbrella, and the fish are in the, there's a lot of room underneath them for swimming around, and you got to just get through that top layer sometimes. Or in the evening, wait till the fish come out of the edges of it or on top of it.
Yes, and then, factoring in the wind, if you're able to I know, hey, maybe it's going to be 80 some degrees or close to 90, and you're fishing, all during the day, maybe a stained lake, let's say, utilizing those wind-blown spots. That's going to be a really big key, too, to success.
Yeah, and we talk about bass there, and that's one of the easier fish to catch during the summertime. But the northern pike, if you get up in them shallow weeds, usually you're going to run into them little hammer handle pike, not so much the bigger pike. It seems like they are out over that edge in, 15, 18, 20 feet of water, it seems like.
Yes, and a few days ago, had some folks that wanted to get some larger pike. Yeah, like you're saying, you get some little ones, maybe cast in the weeds, shallower weed beds. But we got some of those better pike trolling flicker shads, and anywhere from 12, 13, 15, 16 foot, not too far from the weeds, but where you had that transition, but some cooler water conditions, running those baits anywhere from 6 to 8 feet down.
Yeah,
that seemed to work pretty good.
You can cast for them too. I mean, you spinner baits you can get down there if you slow them way down. There's a bunch of different deeper on crankbaits that you can crank and get down there. Rattle baits, I mean, lipless crankbaits like a rattle trap, they sink inherently, and you can count them down and start retrieving them, and you can usually catch pike doing that too.
Yes, and keep it in mind too. As folks start, when this water temp cools down a little bit, or focusing on periods when that water temp isn't 80 or more, you'll be muskie fishing, and if you're going to work on, let's say muskies are moving out a little deeper, maybe not necessarily in a 6 foot weed bay, you'll start finding some nice pike throwing bucktails and some swim baits, stuff like that, maybe even crankbaits.
I know you mentioned muskies there, and a lot of the guys actually dropped back on the muskie fishing when the water temperature got up to around 80 or more. But even when it's in the high 70s, I think a person needs to be really kind of cautious on handling the fish. I mean, if you can, if it's a small fish, don't bring it out of the water. Just release it in the water, and any of the fish survive, because you want that fish to survive to be caught the next time around.
Even if you do happen to get an accidental one, throwing a bass spinnerbait or something, and it was an active fish, whether it's a large one or a small one, you get that, in this hot spell right now, hey, hopefully you have a net that's not going to crunch it in, and you can unhook it, lean down next to it, unhook it in the water, get a picture that way, and then just let it go. That's going to be a better bet for the fish. And nowadays, hey, I know, especially if you've never caught a fish, it's awesome to get a picture of that fish, but again, you just have to keep in mind the person, the experience, holding the fish, all that, taking the time to lay it on some carpet or a bump board, just those few, an extra 30 seconds or a minute might not be a good thing for that fish.
Well, folks, we need to take yet another break and hear from even more of the fine sponsors that bring that show to you every week. When we come back, we'll have the second part of that talk we had with fishing guide Tom Leahy, so stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hey folks, come on over to Hayward Ace Hardware and check out the area's largest selection of firearms, ammo, and accessories. We carry top brands like Browning and Sig Sauer, and we have a great selection of the newest and hard-to-find models. We've got a large selection of ammo with more coming in daily. If you need a scope, we carry great brands like Leupold, Hawk, and EOTech, and we'll even mount it and bore-sight it for you too. We even sell suppressors and silencers. And don't forget to check out our Guns of the Week. Huge discounts on a variety of pistols, rifles, and shotguns that change every week. So stop on in to Hayward Ace Hardware, your firearms superstore. Hayward Ace Hardware, Highway 63 North in Hayward, or give us a call at 715-634-8700.
Hayward Animal Hospital is a full-service medical and surgical hospital featuring on-site laboratory, digital and dental x-ray, in-house pharmacy, and online store. Dr. Ostrander has 40 years of experience dealing with illnesses, injuries, surgery, and dentistry. Hayward Animal Hospital offers urgent care appointments and emergency surgery daily. Please call early in the day for these appointments. They open at 8 a.m. Hayward Animal Hospital is located 1 mile east of Hayward on Highway B. Call 715-634-8971.
Big fish stories come to life at the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame. The world's largest shrine to freshwater anglers boasts a 4.5-story tall walk-through muskie that's a half a city block long. It's like taking a peek into Granddad's old tackle box with thousands of mounted fish, antique outboard motors, and historical sport fishing artifacts. Stop in and take a chance on our 50-50 cash raffle. You could walk away with a pile of cash. See the big ones that didn't get away at the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame, Highways 27 and B in Hayward. Open daily, including Sundays, through October 31st at 9:30 a.m. Welcome back to the last segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. And folks, we're going to jump right back into the second part of that talk I had with fishing guide Tom Leahy. We're talking about the bigger fish and the bass and the muskies and walleyes and stuff, but, one of the more popular fish in the summertime is the panfish. And you want to go out there with kids and you want to have fun. I mean, there's a ton of panfish in a lot of these lakes up here, and, the crappies, the bluegills. There's a little difference between, in some lakes you can find the bluegills right with the crappies, and other lakes, they'll kind of be different area. The bluegills will be more in the weeds, and the crappies will be out off the edge of the weeds, it seems like.
Yeah, and from what I've been seeing, as far as let's say some of the stained lakes, or even some of the clear lakes too, the bluegills, you can find them deep on cribs. The crappies, it seems like they've been, I don't know if they've been started, doesn't seem like they started doing their, hey, we're all going to go to a basin and hang out in 20-some feet of water. There needs to be some kind of structure, it seems like. Piece of wood, piece of crib, flowage example, piece of bog. But you'll find a variety of really nice bluegills. If you want to stay away from the bluegills, do a crappie plastic.
Yeah, usually the bluegills, but there is some of the artificial baits like gulp. I fish gulp alive, the minnows, little 1-inch minnows, and I catch just as many bluegills on that as I do crappies, but if you switch to the plastics, it seems like they don't bite on that as much. It seems like,
and the bait lasts a little longer. I mean, it's awesome to do a jig in a chunk of crawler, but it's a lot of hook baiting. So if you can find some some crappy plastics you like, the gulp is awesome. You're gonna have an enjoyable time. Seems like the cribs, those 20-foot cribs, not every crib is equal. Some cribs are void, some cribs are loaded. I think that's kind of typical. But keeping in mind too, if you guys get a chance to get out, don't ignore the weed beds, because the other day got some nice crappies in the weeds yet. I don't know if they had been there a while or they moved in. There was lots of minnows, lots of bait. Hence, there was crappies in 6-7 feet of water.
Well, we mentioned that milfoil earlier. It's a canopy weed, and that just naturally attracts panfish and crappies underneath it. And they're hard to get at during the daytime sometimes because you got that big mat of weeds over the top. But later in the day, they come out to the edges of it, or a lot of times they'll come out right over the top of it. I've seen where you take a bobber and a plastic or a gulp and you set it about 1 foot below the bobber, or sometimes even less than that. Throw it over the top of them weeds that are down a foot, foot and a half, and these fish will be there. But they won't be there during the daytime usually, unless it's overcast, drizzly day. But in the evening, they're always there, it seems like.
Well, and even I was, bass fishing. When I was bass fishing the other day, I noticed, in about 14 feet, let's say 30 yards from the weed edge is an 8 foot, and then 30 yards away, we were bass fishing. We weren't crappie fishing, but you could see there was crappies all over the top, mouthing the top of the water, splashing.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's a good way the bobber bite. You really short line on the bobber and, really tiny bobber and throw it out there, and they bite pretty readily when they're up on top like that.
Yes, and, and you don't have to factor out minnows. Some guys, if they want, if you can keep your minnows alive, and it'll definitely be nice if the water temp cools down. But using some fathead minnows or some crappie minnows instead of, the gulp or the plastic or whatever, that could make a difference too.
Yeah, I usually tell people that insist on going after walleyes. The best time usually to go after them is really just before, right around sunset and slightly after. That seems to be the one time in the summertime where if you got a good piece of structure, you can find walleyes on it. Otherwise, during the day, they got a lot of things out there to eat.
They do, and there's, with the summer conditions, all that, you got to factor in all the different hatches that happen, and bugs, all the baby perch, they're getting bigger. That's a great food source. Minnows, yes, there's a lot of forage out there to compete against when you're fishing as well.
Well, Tom, a lot of great information there for people heading out during the summer here. You want to give out some guide information if somebody wants to get you for a guide?
Yeah, sure, John. You guys could reach me at my cell phone number, 715-558-6755, or TomLeahyGuideService.com.
Well, thank you, Tom, for taking the time with us here.
Hey, thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Well, folks, we're about out of time for this week's show. I'd like to remind everyone out there that if you miss a show, you can always go to our website at wnoradio.com, and from there you can link through to our podcast. You can also find the show on Spotify and all major podcast channels. And also, if you're looking for information on vacationing and lodging here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau website at haywardlakes.com or the Hayward Area Chamber site at haywardareachamber.com. And lastly, if you'd like more information on hiring a fishing guide when you're up here in the Hayward area, check out our website at wnoradio.com. We've got links to just about all the different guides and a lot of information in there on guides. We're out of time for this week's show, and we'll be back again next week with another interesting show for you. Thanks for listening.
Way up in the Northland where the recreation's great. So sit back, relax, kick off your shoes, sink in your easy chair. Come on along, listen with me, I'm gonna take you there to our Wisconsin outdoors, our Wisconsin outdoors.
This program has been produced and hosted entirely by Wisconsin Northland Outdoor Communications.